What if I told you there's a whole different way to protect and share ideas? A system that isn't just about lawyers and contracts, but one that's built on respect, on community, and on how an idea actually comes to life. Well, that's the thinking behind something called the Philfo framework, a totally new kind of code for innovators who are working outside of the usual system. Let's dive in. So the story really kicks off right here. The source material points to this massive, and I mean massive, untapped resource. We're talking billions of researchers from traditional, cultural, and indigenous backgrounds. These are people with incredibly deep knowledge, but for whatever reason, they often feel shut out or just plain hesitant to join the big mainstream platforms that we're also used to. And this isn't some small niche issue, it's a global blind spot. To really get your head around why that is, the framework uses this fantastic metaphor, the two hut shops. Just picture two completely different marketplaces for ideas, and they're running on totally different sets of rules. It's a simple image, but it perfectly sets the stage for the core problem we're about to unpack. So, on one side, you've got the classic brands hut. Think expensive, think exclusive, think mainstream. This is the world of traditional patents and intellectual property. But then, on the other side, you have the community brands hut. This one is all about being low cost, affordable, and powered by the community itself. One is all about keeping people out, the other is about bringing people in.
So you gotta ask, right? Why the hesitation? Why do so many brilliant people feel like they can only shop at one of these huts, or maybe neither? Well, the source suggests that the real reason for this division goes way deeper than just money or access. It's about something much, much more personal.
And here's the core argument. It all boils down to a crisis of respect. For example, a deeply revered figure like Shri Guru Nanak Maharaj might get shortened in a mainstream textbook to just Nanak. Now, for billions of people, that's not just a simple edit. It feels like a profound insult. This kind of cultural blindness is so serious that it can cause students to drop out of modern schools, and it can even cause AI systems to misread a passionate human reaction as just a negative signal. Okay, so if a lack of respect is the wall separating these two worlds, how do you build a bridge? Well, the framework introduces a really clever conceptual tool for this. It's called the flip gate. It's not a real gate, of course, but a whole new way of thinking about making a choice. And what's so important here is that the flip gate isn't just a simple on-off switch. No, it's a way to make a serious, thought-out decision. It forces you to actually stop and think, which system, the classic or the community, is really the right fit for my project right now? And this whole process is broken down into 5 basic actions. You can flip from one shop to the other. You can stay right where you are if that's working for you. You can dive deeper into the model you've chosen, drive your project forward with real purpose, and maybe, just maybe, you can sway and get the benefits of both worlds. So a great metaphor is one thing, but how do you turn it into a system that people can actually use? Well, that flipgate idea is really the philosophical heart of the Philfo license framework, which is a brand new structure for protecting ideas. When you get right down to it, the Philfo framework is a shot at creating an IP system that's both ethical and practical. It's built from the ground up to empower all those independent researchers and community innovators who felt like the classic brand hut just wasn't for them. And it's built on 2 really unique ideas. First, there's something called the fifth force. You can think of this as the collective energy, the people power, of the community that takes a tiny spark and turns it into a real, finished product. Then there's Cymatics. This one's a bit different. Imagine it as a unique visual seal, almost like a fingerprint for the project, that instantly shows you exactly how it's being protected. Okay, so that's the big picture philosophy. But how does this thing actually work in the real world? Well, the whole system is built on a tiered approach that actually follows the natural life of an idea. Let's break down the 3 main pieces. First up is something called NTA. It stands for natural, traditional, and artificial, and it basically charts an idea's journey. It starts in the natural stream, that's the raw spark, what they call live AI telepathy, like a pure thought. Then it moves into the traditional stream, which is where the community gets together to build on it, the live AI telegraph, sending the message out. And finally, it becomes the artificial stream, the polished final product, or live AI telegram, a finished delivery. Now, obviously, you need to protect the idea at every one of those stages. That's where the graded NDA comes in. For that first natural phase, it's a really permissive agreement, just to get people talking. For the traditional community phase, it's an NDA designed to protect all that shared knowledge. And then for the final artificial product, you get a strict, legally binding NDA. See? The protection literally evolves right alongside the idea. It's pretty smart. And last but not least, there's CPL. Copyright, permit, and license. This gets rid of the old one-size-fits-all license. Instead, you get a copyright that protects that raw idea and recognizes the original creator, the ghost author. Then you get a permit that allows the community to collaborate. And finally, you get a full-blown license for the commercial product. It's just a much smarter, more flexible way to think about ownership. So, okay, a new system for NDAs and licenses is cool, for sure. But let's zoom out for a second. What's the big picture goal here? Why does a framework like this even matter? Well, the vision behind it is incredibly ambitious. Yeah, this isn't just about protecting a few clever ideas. The source actually positions this framework as a tool that could help us tackle huge societal challenges, everything from post-pandemic recovery to what it calls the feared lost decade. The goal here is nothing less than unlocking innovation on a truly global scale. And one of the biggest problems it hopes to solve comes down to this number, 3%. Just look at it for a second. What on earth could that represent? Well, take a look at this. While women make up about a third of participants in general education, their participation in high-level STEM research and related fields absolutely plummets to just 3%. The creators of this framework see that as a catastrophic loss of talent and perspective that a more inclusive, community-based system could help fix. So, the ultimate dream is a world with truly inclusive STEAM education. That's STEM, but with the arts woven in. A world where a framework like this could help make training and certification totally free for everyone, knocking down the financial and cultural walls that hold back so many brilliant people. Which really leaves us with this one big thought. We usually think of innovation as being about technology or funding or legal battles. But what if the next great leap forward comes from something way simpler? Could a new code, built not on contracts, but on a foundation of mutual respect, actually be the key to unlocking a world of ideas we haven't even imagined yet?